Hey guys, my name is Sherjan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, I was a Vice President in Investment Banking at Morgan Stanley, and prior to that I was at Google. But on the internet, I'm your personal mentor. So today we're going to be talking about the upcoming recruiting season and why it's going to be very, very different, especially if you're applying for a job in investment banking, consulting, accounting, or even some of the startups or tech companies. This is going to be different from before, and you'll want to watch this video. In this video, I'll be covering two main reasons why things are going to be different. The first one you already know. Unfortunately, it's the pandemic, and it has literally changed the world. The second is going to be the second order effects of the pandemic on the job market, on the economy, and just generally on the mindset of these companies and people that are hiring the next generation of talent. Finally, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can tackle this challenge, how you can hopefully prepare today and come out stronger. Let's start with the first topic, which is the pandemic. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, it has changed the world, especially physically. If you're in a situation where you're about to go back to school or start a new program, what we think of a school or as a university or college is going to be a very different experience moving forward. A lot of institutions have announced that they're transitioning to an online format, right? So they'll be teaching classes over Zoom or some sort of other webinar series. So you're going to have less learning or type of learning that you had historically. So that's number one. Number two, you're actually going to see a situation where a lot of the facilities that are on campus are going to be closed. So if you could interact with fellow school members, you can interact with fellow students or teachers or professors and learn from them, prepare your resumes, all that stuff, you're not going to be able to do it in an in-person settings because a lot of the facilities will be closed. The last piece of this is, remember, a lot of these facilities include things like the Career Center or the library, places where you could book a room and do a mock interview or get your resume reviewed or get guidance on, hey, how do I get my next job? Those things are not going to be available to you, especially in the next 6 to 9 months. So that's the first thing. A physical change because of the pandemic has happened, is going to happen. And you just need to know that, this is the reality and you just have to deal with it. The second reason related to the pandemic is, yes, physically it has changed in terms of the facilities and all that, but it will also change human to human interaction. Right? Remember, getting a job or getting hired, a lot of it depends on how much does the person who's interviewing you like you, connects with you, relates with you, right? If you're not able to connect with humans, right, during this pandemic, it's going to be a lot harder to sell your story, to sell why you are going to be the best person for this job. So the first thing that's going to happen in this situation is that human to human interaction will go down and be close to zero and move mostly online. The second thing is, like I said, you need to showcase your personality. And if we're wearing masks, which I think everybody should, so I'm a proponent for it, you're not going to be able to see facial expressions. If you do run into someone in person, or let's just say you do see someone on the street or maybe on campus, if you do go to campus or maybe in an office, you're not going to be able to see the facial expressions. It's much harder to tell a story when you can't show facial expressions. Jokes aren't as funny, right? Serious things aren't as serious. So that's going to have another impact. The third thing is people are not going to be shaking hands, right? Look, handshakes have been a part of our society for the longest time. And now, because of the pandemic, most people are not going to be able to do that. And that changes the way you can build a bond with someone. I remember when I used to recruit, one of the first things we would see of someone is how was their handshake? Is it firm? Is it, do they make good eye contact while making the handshake? It shows confidence, right? It shows that they have some strength or ability and they believe in themselves. But now that another factor of that is going to be taken away from us. And for a good reason in my opinion, but it is unfortunately something that's going to impact recruiting. Related to that and the way the physical world is changing, it's also going to have an impact on exchanging of physical documents. Right? Back in the day, we could carry a resume around, give it to an employer, or give it to someone that we're meeting for a coffee chat. Now, not so much. All that information that we think sells us because it's a beautiful piece of document, you're not going to be able to share that. So you'll need to have a great elevator pitch, right? So anybody you meet or anybody you chat with, within 30 seconds, you should be able to tell them the highlights of your life. So being able to exchange physical documents is not going to be a thing, especially a resume. And remember, I don't know if you guys remember my story, I had an interview at Goldman Sachs where the MD had the exact wrong resume of mine. They had a resume from 3-4 years ago. And it was a mistake made by HR, but back then I could give him a new version of my resume. Now it'll be harder. Second is you're not going to be able to get business cards and contact information in a physical format anymore, or give in a physical format anymore. Most people are not going to do that. So learning someone's email address as soon as they tell you their name, or memorizing their name so that you can guess their email address later, is going to become the norm. So moving from a physical documents style of working to an online is going to be the new way forward. In addition to that, and a lot of students rely on this, is employers are not going to be coming to campuses. First of all, like I said, campuses are not going to be a thing, at least in the near future. They're going to be closed. They're not going to allow a lot of people, let alone outside employers who are not going to be tested coming in on a regular basis. So expecting you to go back to campus and then hopefully interacting with potential employers is not going to be a thing anymore. So say goodbye to career fairs, say goodbye to info sessions, say goodbye to like these coffee chats and stuff that employers usually host on campus. That's not going to happen anymore. So your chance of showcasing yourself and getting on their radar has diminished drastically, right? And that is going to impact you actually one of the in the greatest ways. Lastly, and unfortunately, the greatest impact that you're going to face is going to be in your networking, especially with alumni. Remember, you're going to be reaching out to these people and they're not going to be as willing to meet you. They're not going to be as willing to come down and grab a coffee with you or help you. Why? It's not that they don't want to help you. Unfortunately, they're going through their own struggles, right? A lot of them have families. They may have kids that they have to take care of during the pandemic, or they have a job that is uncertain and they don't know if they'll keep it. So the last thing on their mind is helping someone new that they've just met. So ability to, again, spread your brand, get on all these radars, get invited to interviews, it's going to become a lot harder. And if you're too late to the game, you're not going to be able to be successful in this whole recruiting game that's coming up, or recruiting season that's coming up. All right, so that's the first reason that I wanted to talk about, the pandemic. Now, what is the second? The second, like I said, are the second order effects of this pandemic, especially on the economy and the job market. First thing is the economic activity is going to go down, has already gone down. We know this, business activity has gone down, all of these companies doing work, people buying things from them, all these things that make the machine of the economic machine of a country, of a nation, or of the world work has slowed down or even halted in a lot of places. So because of the low business activity, there's just less business to do, and that means there's less work to do. So that's the first thing that has happened. The second is because of that, less amount of work or minimal amount of work that needs to get done, you need very few people to be at work. So a lot of companies, unfortunately, have laid off a lot of good people. And not only laid off a lot of good people, those who were strong, companies that were strong, have like a blanket hiring freeze. Like I know companies like, for example, Twitter, have a blanket hiring freeze and they're like, look, we're not hiring anytime soon. So that's another important thing to understand. Then they're going to revert to sustainable operations. Remember, as the economy picks back up, as we start, taking care of the pandemic, as the business activity starts to improve, they're not going to automatically just invite everybody back to, their offices. They're going to slowly see, what do we really need? Because the truth is, a lot of these businesses in the last 5 to 10 years have been, riding a high. Things were great, so you can hire a lot of people, and even if you don't need them, you're hiring them. But now what has happened is, everybody is worried about profitability. Everybody's worried about existence and sustainability. So hiring the person who can, who you really, really, really need and you can afford that person is going to be the main reason why people are going to hire. They're not just going to hire because you're good or you're graduating. So it's important to understand companies are going to move to a sustainable model, right? Can we survive another impact if a second wave of this pandemic comes or something else happens in the economic conditions? Will we be able to survive? Survival is the most important thing. So that's another thing for you to remember. And then remember, when they do start hiring back, they're not going to hire the new people first. They're going to hire the people that they first let go of. They're going to bring those back first. And I call this an FOFI, first out, first in. So if someone gets laid off or let go, those are the people that will be at the front of the line, and they'll be, because there's a bond between that employer and that employee. Those are the folks that are going to get an invite to come back versus a brand new candidate coming out of college or MBA who's going to get the spot. So that's another important thing for you to understand. And remember, it's not just companies like Starbucks and retail and hospitality that are facing the impact of this economic downturn. It's also great companies like Airbnb or Evercore who have heard have laid off a bunch of people obviously in their organization. A lot of them actually have deferred a lot of potential summer interns or full-time classes of analysts in investment banking. For example, Evercore, like I said, who have moved it to the next year, that hey, look, can you join us next year versus this year, and we'll pay you a little bit extra for the time that you're taking off. So it's a very different time, especially different business activity because of the pandemic, and how hiring happens is going to be very different. And if you are someone who's entering the job market as an intern or as a full-time, it's gonna be different. And you will need to work 5 to 10 times harder to make sure that you potentially get a job. Not just the job that you really want, but a job. All right, so I didn't want to scare you. I know this is tough times and the pandemic is here and the economic conditions are bad, but remember, it's better to know it than not know it. Now, obviously, because of this, like I mentioned, there's gonna be a massive wave of people applying. Everybody, their mom, their dog, their dad, their grandpa, their son, everybody's gonna be applying for the upcoming jobs. And you need to be better prepared for it. So everybody who had an internship that got laid off is gonna be applying. Everybody who didn't have a job is gonna be applying. New students who are coming out of graduation, they're gonna be applying. Folks who have a job but want an upgrade will be applying. So the wave of good talent that's gonna be on the market is gonna be super, super, super high. So here are 6 things that I want you to do to prepare for that, and become better so that you can take on this challenge and come out stronger. Number 1, you gotta network, right? Now I know, like I said, most people are not gonna be willing to network because the pandemic's going on and they're not open to it, but that doesn't mean you don't do it. Now it's not about doing it or not. You must network, but you need to do it 5 to 10 times more. If you used to write 1 cold email a day, you need to write 5 cold emails a day. So start today. Start mapping out everybody and anybody that you want to meet with, from friends to people that you meet on LinkedIn to your alumni network. All of those folks, you need to start sending out cold emails on a daily basis, right? And when you connect with them, yes, you can't meet, no worries. Get on a Zoom call, right? Right now I'm reaching out to you through YouTube. That's the same way how someone else would. If they don't want to get on, no worries. Reach out to the next guy and the next person and the next person. Keep on doing it because it's a numbers game ultimately. And even though times are tough, there are going to be some people who are going to be willing to help. So get them on a Zoom call, try to get on a phone call with them or anything like that, even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes. You need to do more networking now than ever before. Number 2, prepare. This is the best time to prepare. You have all the free time in the world and the world is closed. So use it to your advantage. Start by learning as much as you can about the industry that you're most passionate about. Learn about the businesses, learn about the sectors that they cover, learn about the people that are working there. Become more familiar with that industry so you will actually be super knowledgeable when the interview does happen. Then make a better resume. I know everybody's got a great resume, everybody says they have a great resume, but remember, I've seen thousands of them and I tell you they are shit. So I don't want yours to be that bad. So take my Skillshare class, the link is on the bottom and over here, use it. It's a 90-minute free course and it will make your resume 500,000 times better. I guarantee it. Thousands of people have taken my course on Skillshare and other places and they love it and it has proven results. They have gotten interviews across all the top firms. It's gonna help you. Next, spend the time preparing for interviews and becoming the best at it. And you can do that by taking my course, Breaking Through. It is a complete step-by-step guide to getting your dream job in investment banking, management consulting, accounting, and tech. Most of you know my story of breaking into Morgan Stanley and Google with a non-target background and a 3.0 GPA. So for the first time ever, I put every single thing I know in how to get the job all in one easy to consume course. During the course, I'll first motivate you and energize you so you have a strong foundation for these industries. Then we'll build the perfect resume and cover letter together from scratch that works and gets you noticed at the top firms. After that, I'll specifically train you to become a super networker, showing you exactly how to break through impossible doors and teaching you how to get your brand in front of the right people. Finally, we will learn specific insider tips and techniques you must know to ace your interviews, including how to effectively answer the most important interview questions. Also, we'll learn post-interview strategies that can help you convert single offers into multiple offers. I've taught this course around the world from San Francisco to Hong Kong and at leading universities such as Harvard and Stanford, and to over 20,000 students and young professionals. So if you're serious about getting your dream job, check out Breaking Through at sherjan.teachable.com. Finally, in the preparation, get mock interviews done, as many of them as possible. Remember, you want to get as many at-bats as possible before the real day. And that means reaching out to your friends, your family members, everybody and anybody who can help you, who can listen to you, who can critique you, get in front of them. Get at least 25 to 30 mock interviews done so you can refine and hone your interview skills before you sit in the hot seat. Number 3, spend the time on upgrading yourself, especially on the technical side of things. Look, I'm sure you've taken a lot of courses and classes, on campus, in school before, where you've learned accounting, case studies, and finance, and economics, and programming, and all those other things. But this is the time where you can further refine that skill. Take courses online. There are a ton of platforms where you can take amazing courses like Skillshare is one, Udemy is another one, and learn technical side of things. Take Excel modeling courses, become a better modeler, right? Take financial analysis courses and become better at understanding three-statement financial analysis. Become better at case studies. So a lot of that information is out there, and I think you should take those courses. I don't personally teach any of the technical courses because I was never great at technical courses. I've always been better on the behavioral side of things, but you should actually take this time to become better at those things and refine those skills. Also, upgrade your brand on the internet, right? You have a LinkedIn profile, you have an Instagram profile, a Twitter profile, TikTok, Facebook, all of these amazing profiles that you have on the internet. Make them even better, right? Clean them up, take out all the garbage, take out all the naked pictures that you may have or photos that you have of sushi or, opening bottles at a club. Cut those out, right? Clean it up, make it look nicer, make it look much more appealing, so that when and if an interviewer reaches out to you or a recruiter sees your profile online, they see a beautiful brand that is consistent with your brand offline. Number 4, get involved, right? You have a lot of time right now. Don't just sit at home and learn. Yes, that's great. Prepare and upgrade is great, but get out there. Get involved in things. Go join a sports league or go join a volunteer activity that you can help your city or help your community. This is the best way for you to get involved. And if you don't want to do more of the community involvement stuff, get involved with let's just say a company. Ask a local, brand, can you help them on free consulting? Can you help them on any sort of work, right? Or even a local startup who's looking for someone to come in and, wear a bunch of hats. Just get yourself busy. Don't just stay idle at home. Get a job or type of a job or a project that you can work on over the summer, over this time, so that when interviewing does happen or interviews do happen in September, October, or whenever, they'll ask you, what did you do over the summer? You can't just say, I just prepared for this interview. You want to say that you kept yourself busy by helping other people or building something that you were passionate about or writing a book. Doesn't matter. Just get yourself busy and keep yourself busy by getting involved. Number 5, gotta get a better video camera setup. So I have a great setup that I have put together for my coaching classes, my mentorship classes, and these trainings and these YouTube videos. And I've done it obviously for a business purpose, but you can also set up a great Zoom or webcam setup. What I would recommend is have a window which you face so that you have great lighting. So look at this lighting that I have. It's because I'm facing a window. I don't use any electronic lights or anything like that. And then I have a camera that I've had for a while it's a DSLR. It's not just a camera on my computer. So if you have a DSLR at home connected with your computer, use that setup, because remember, again, most of the interaction is going to be online. And if you can't showcase yourself in an offline way by wearing a clean suit, a well-fitted suit or a dress or whatever you wear to an interview and look professional, you'll have to do it in an online format. And the only way to do it in an online format is through a better video setup. So make sure your dog's not running in the background and your mom's not yelling at you for new food or something like that. Set up that environment so that you're ready for online interviews. Finally, I want you to be open to other opportunities, right? Remember, it's going to be tough. These industries, like I said, investment banking, consulting, accounting, tech, these 4 big industries have always been super competitive, and they're going to get 10x more competitive. So the chance of you getting your dream job has actually diminished quite a bit, and it's going to be very, very, very low. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to get it. There is still a chance you may get it, but it is a higher chance that you won't get it. So I want you to be open to other industries, right? If you're not getting that job in investment banking, but you can get a job at a boutique bank, right? Great, take that. If you can't get a job in finance in general, but there is a corporate development role at a startup, great, take that, right? If you can't get that corporate development role, but you got a role where you're still working with numbers as a marketing analyst or a sales analyst at a smaller company, take that. Be open to other roles, because remember, these are unprecedented times, and I want you not to be at home for 6 to 12 months and just not having anything, no progress made in your career. I want you to make some progress, but it's going to come by having an open mindset about what's coming ahead and what else can you do if your main thing, the main dream job, doesn't work out. So be open-minded. All right, guys, so that's the episode for today. Tell me in the comments, what have you done, in the last, let's say 2 or 3 months when we've been going through this pandemic, and what do you plan to do the next 2 or 3 months to improve and do better, right? We have a lot of time, and I want to know, and I'm actually curious too, what have you done? I've actually, did a few things like start this YouTube channel and launched a course and launched a podcast. So I've kept myself busy in new activities because I had a lot more free time. So question for you is, what have you done? What has kept you busy? Or what will you do to keep yourself busy? So let me know in the comments. I'd love to read that. And then subscribe, hit the ding notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care, team. See you soon.